Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod After Dark. I am Jeff, and hey, yo, ding dong, man. Ding dong, yo. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my cuz host.
I'm Leslie, and you're all just a bunch of normals! One! Thank you.
The amount to which you look like Weird Al right now is so fucked up. It makes me so happy.
I know, I'm like really considering drag right now.
You're late era Weird Al. You know, like you can't pull off the fro,
No.
or like the real short hair, but the wavy hair Weird Al, that is, that's Jeff's kiss.
Thank you.
It's beyond a chef's kiss. It's Jeff's kiss. Yeah. I cheated, by the way. My intro was not from the movie. It was from the video for Fat. It's just one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite lines in any. It's you ain't fat. You ain't fat. Wonderful. Anyhow, this week, Cheesemeisters, we are doing Weird, the Al Yankovic story. The 2022, of course, this isn't really what happened, but what did you expect? Masterpiece starring Danny Rads, Rainn Wilson, Evan Rachel Wood, and about a million brilliant cameos. Yes. We are doing this in conjunction with Season 3, Episode 17, The Game is Chicken, because in that episode is our spelling connection, Seth Green. He went to the Princeton School for Boys, or the Princeton School in Encino, making boys into men.
Indeed.
So, yeah. So we were looking for a Seth Green connection, and like my gut is Austin Powers, but I don't know. Like at some point, I do want to rewatch Austin Powers in the year of our Lord 2024 just to see how weirdly it's aged, because like it's 100% going to have aged bad in some places.
Yeah.
But I'm real curious as to sort of how, and I'm probably not going to care all that much, but we'll see. But you suggested immediately Weird, and I have not seen this. You have, and I wanted to see it, but I just never had a Roku or whatever, and so I just kept not getting around to it. And perfect choice to check out this week. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm so glad. Yeah. Even though we don't see Seth Green, we only hear him.
I know. I was like, did I miss him? Because I was like, I didn't remember seeing him.
I did the same thing. I was like, oh no, did I steer us wrong?
No, you steered us right. So you have seen this movie before, and there's kind of a specific reason. You know what there is? There's a Venn diagram. Okay, there's a Venn diagram, and it goes like this. Over here, you've got dating a big Weird Al fan, right? And over here, you've got dating a guy who looks like Daniel Radcliffe. And then when you do this, that's Leslie. So tell me about the specific convergence of planetary events that happened when you became aware that this movie was going to happen.
The planet said, we must help this young woman, because they did not say we must help this young woman. We must help this young man whose partner does not understand his love for Weird Al and won't listen. How can we get her to watch this movie? I know. We will put in her childhood lifelong crush.
So wait. So did you not like Weird Al, or did you just look at your husband and go, you are such a lunatic, why do you like this?
It's not, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, growing up, I feel I'm not going to blame the area, but like, unfortunately, in my house, I was already enough of a black sheep, and Weird Al just seemed like a bridge too far. So that was something where I thought, this guy looks weird. It's in his name. I'll avoid that. And I did.
Okay.
And granted, I'm not the fan that Walter is. I couldn't
Uh-huh.
be, but I appreciate it. I will put it on for our long road trips that we do. Um,
Sure.
yeah. And also like I think I like him more as a person than I care for his music, but I still
Oh,
listen to it.
he seems to be genuinely one of the nicest people in the world. Um, which just makes me happy. Because growing up in the 80s, man, most of the people that you looked up to turned out to be kind of monsters. Like, and that feeds into a little bit of what he does in this movie. Um, but like when I was 8, I loved Michael Jackson like a lot.
Yeah.
And I loved the Cosby Show like a lot. And Hulk Hogan like a lot. And there's more.
Man, you doing okay?
So, so to have Weird Al, who is like, not only did I love Weird Al from like the minute I was exposed to him when I was about 9 or 10 years old, um, but to have him be an inspiration to so many people that I think are really funny,
Hmm.
um, and also to be like maybe the nicest person on the planet is so gratifying. So, yay Weird Al, like all the way around, yay Weird Al.
Yeah.
So if you grew up avoiding Weird Al, was there a song that did you figure out he was good in any capacity before your current partner's situation?
Uh no, I figured he was good just for the fact that he was still working and people
Okay.
liked him.
Okay. So at what point in listening to him on the road trips or the whatever, is there a song? I guess is what I'm asking. Is there a Weird Al song that turned you around a little bit where you went, that's kind of all right, that's kind of funny, or wow, that's a really solid parody, I can't believe it sounds that good, or whatever? um is there a song that like changed your mind or opened your perspective?
I just remember too, okay, I don't know if the entire burlesque event was Weird Al themed, but I do listen, another
That's
great way to
okay.
get me to like something, women
We can
dancing
watch.
around.
Yeah, you're missing a tremendous effect here.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but one of I know one of the numbers was to Tacky by Weird Al. Um, so
And what's that a parody of? Because I know that, but that's
Happy
real.
by
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Okay.
Pharrell. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't, this is so sad because I swear, it's not that I don't like him, people. It's not. It's just, it's not going to be my go to. I have an
Mhm.
appreciation for what he does and for what he's created. Uh, I don't know if I have a song that like suddenly piqued my
Okay.
interest. I know I have songs that I really like over
Mhm.
others. Like,
Okay.
you're going to be hard pressed to get me excited for the polka jamboree things that he does because I'm just like,
Sure.
oh god, this is so much. Like, Hamilton polka is the only one I can do.
Here's why I like those polkas. Uh, it's because of something that Weird Al himself said somewhere around the Dare to Be Stupid album. Uh, he said, "I take the hits of today and I play them as God always intended on the accordion."
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah, that's the entire reason to do those polkas," and I love it. Like, it's just the concept of it is so silly. Please continue. They're none
I
of
don't
them are
know.
my favorite polka. On like none of those are my favorite songs on the album, but they're fun.
I don't know if this is from God or from the devil, but it's incredible what you're doing.
Yeah. So I I wanted to ask you about sort of your Weird Al experience because I don't want to just gush for like half an hour about like how much I love Weird Al. Because also like we watched a movie. Like
Yes.
it's not just like we just sat down and watched all of Weird Al's videos, which we could do.
I could gush more about this movie probably than I could because again,
Okay.
they I don't know what niche audience they were going for, but they and I don't even know. The stars were aligned. They got me.
They got you. They were going for me. They caught you in the net. Like you weren't the target of the fisherman here. You were not Moby Dick. But you were just around Moby Dick. You got tossed right in the boat. Yeah, this movie was made for me.
Yes.
It was made for people, uh, Gen X kids who grew up listening to Dr. Demento at midnight on a Saturday when you're at a
Wow.
sleepover and you're not supposed to be up and you stayed up too late because you knew Dr. Demento was coming on and you really wanted to get to listen to it. More than once did I do that. I at sleepovers we stayed up late and you wanted to get to Dr. Demento. That's the kind of kid I was.
I had no
So
idea.
when I got old enough to be able to like have a radio in my room and I could do that myself on a Sunday night at like I think I have like a memory of him being on Sundays at 10:30. So I think maybe it was later. But I listened to Dr. Demento. I loved novelty songs. I was that kid with that sense of humor. And I probably found Dr. Demento and Weird Al at like the same time.
Okay.
But like I very rarely heard Weird Al on Dr. Demento. It would be like one song, you know, but like I owned Weird Al albums. I had them on
Nice.
tape. But yeah, I had In 3D and Dare to Be Stupid and Weird Al. We had Polka Party. I mean, we had like all the ones in the 80s. So this movie is made for those kids. And it's filled with those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of the people doing cameos in this movie were me as a little kid. They were Weird Al fans. You know, they're just like famous actor Weird Al fans. So
Yeah.
it's populated with people just like me who
Yeah.
love Weird Al, including Weird Al. And so it's like, and it's such a weird specific concept. And look, the only way Weird Al can do a biopic is to make it a parody of biopics. That
Yeah.
like it couldn't have been otherwise, but also it's a stroke of genius that this is what they came up with.
Yeah.
You know, to just tell an hour and a half long lie,
Yep.
but have it feel so like at its base it's maybe more self-aware than any biopic I've ever seen, you know, because
Yeah.
the whole thing is like this is the fact that any of this happened is crazy. It didn't happen like this, but it doesn't matter because the way that it happened doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm Weird Al and I became massively famous, very wealthy, incredibly respected by playing parody songs on the accordion. That's insane. There's no story you can tell that lives up to the insanity of what actually happened.
Yeah.
And so they turned Madonna into Pablo Escobar. I mean, it's what the fuck? This movie's nuts. It's one falsehood after another, in service of the premise, which is crazy, isn't it?
I know.
So, yeah. So tell me about. Go ahead and start gushing about this movie, because I'll tell you this just up front. I liked it. I thought it was a little slow in parts,
Yeah.
and my friend Adam watched this and he said it's kind of the same joke for 90 minutes, and that's not untrue,
Sure.
So like that's part of it for me. So I think I probably like Weird Al more than I like this movie. So, but talk about why you love this movie, and try to focus as much as you can on Daniel Radcliffe's abs.
Oh, I do. Believe me.
Oh, I'm sure.
His whole person.
Oh,
Um, yeah, sorry. No, I'm not sorry in advance. Listen,
sorry. Gosh.
I am. Listen, I'm not just. I'm his band-aid, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I'm. I am.
Penny Lane.
I am Penny Lane to Daniel Radcliffe because I have been a fan of his work since I first plucked eyes on him. And yes, it started out as a crush, but like, and obviously the Harry Potter movies are not as great as we remember them. But the fact that since then he has like really worked so hard and built a career and done all kinds of crazy things. I mean, if you put him in something, chances are I've seen it. Even including things like horror films, which we have talked about that I don't like to do or like to watch. But he was in Woman in Black, which was bad. Now, am I saying that because I know what's good and what's bad in a horror film? No, it was bad because it's a horror film and I don't like to be scared, and he had a shirt on. Anyway.
Boo.
That's not why I mean, yes, a big part of it is it's just really fun to watch him like do something so silly and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I definitely noticed more moments last night where the movie is a little slow. Like whenever they get into the Pablo Escobar of it all, I'm like, I don't know what this is for.
It is such a weird digression.
It's one of this is where I confuse myself and I don't know how to explain myself to people, because by all accounts, this movie should have confused me and been like and gotten a few laughs from me. But I genuinely find it funny. I love the silliness of it. You're right. The only way Al Yankovic could have ever done a biopic is to parody biopics. So
yeah.
I like the ingenuity of it. I like the creativity. I love the people he got involved with it. Like, listen, I know why people get the chance to make mediocre shit all the time, but this genuinely looked like it came from like a labor of love. Like, we just want to make something fun and silly. I don't know that I mean, someone ordered it. Someone wanted it and put the money down for it, someone other than just Weird Al. And I like getting to see things that look like they were just fun for everyone involved.
Oh, for sure.
And
yeah,
that's what this was.
Everybody in this movie is having a blast the whole time. The whole time they're having a great time. All right, I have to talk about, I think, my favorite part of this movie.
When he's covered in oil. No, just mine. Sorry.
That's yours. Yeah, that's your spot. Dr. Demento's grotto is the funniest thing I may have ever seen. The idea that Dr. Demento has a grotto like Hef at the Playboy Mansion, and it is populated with Alice Cooper and one of the guys from Queen and Elvira and Wolfman Jack and Pee Wee Herman and Tiny fucking Tim. Like
Garfunkel.
it is filled with the silly, like, of course these, like, in my imagination there's an episode of The Simpsons where Bart goes to Mad Magazine and
Okay.
expects it to, like, the offices to be like zany, and it's just people like at cubicles, and he's like so disappointed, so he closes the door and leaves, and then it is like that. In my brain, in my heart, if Dr. Demento had a grotto, this is exactly who would be there. And
Great.
they were cameoed, they were played, like, the actors playing the cameos were so perfectly done and did just this amazing, this is the essence of the silliness of this person.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they're right there at Weird Al's grotto, which is just a pool. It's just a pool. Like, it couldn't be more perfectly silly. I love it so much. That if the movie was just that scene, give it an Oscar.
Conan O'Brien as Andy Warhol is
Yes.
probably one of my favorite cameos. One, because he just doesn't do a lot. He says all the time that he can't act.
Yeah.
But this is just so funny. I'm a big Conan fan.
Same. And Emo Phillips, who I'm assuming you don't know all that well.
No, but I do now.
Yeah, Emo Phillips as Dolly was so weird, but exactly perfect. And of course, he would also be at Dr. Demento's grotto. So what, you're now more familiar with Emo Phillips? Like, you've seen some of his stand-up?
Oh, no, I just mean, again, because of having done a show about Dali and then watching it, I was like, oh, there he is! Like, very excited, but I had no idea who it was, and now I'm curious about his work.
You should go watch some. He's got a very specific delivery, and a very crooked, sideways sense of humor.
Nice.
And I love Emo Phillips. So yeah, that casting, I might have shouted, "Oh my God, they put Emo Phillips to Salvador Dali!" Like, I might have shouted that in my and of course, no one in my house knows who Emo Phillips is, and only one of the people knows who Dali is. So no one else was impressed, but I was like Leo pointing, this thing. So,
I feel like that scene speaks to, we all seem to have this want for historical movies to show all of these famous people together in the same room.
right.
Like, and all these famous people knowing each other. And, like, of course, sometimes, they meet, like, they are a very small community and only they understand what they are going through.
Right.
But I think back to when Lin-Manuel was interviewing about Hamilton, and he was saying how, like, well, of course these four founding fathers didn't all meet the same night. Like, some liberties have been taken.
Yeah.
Idea to think that they all met, drinking to the revolution.
It's Steve Martin wrote a play called Picasso at the La Pinagile. Okay, so you know it? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Same idea. Yeah, where Picasso and Einstein meet at a bar right before Einstein comes up with the theory of relativity, but right after Picasso got out of his blue period, I think. And have you seen it, the play?
I've only read it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool because it's these two guys, and they're like, and I'm not telling you, you know this, I'm telling the people. But the idea that, like, greatness comes in threes, and they realize that the two of them are great, so they're waiting for the third greatman to show up that night. And it's, what is the guy's name, Schmendman or something, that shows up, and they think he's the third, and it's like, we know it's not. But yeah, it's that same idea. It's like putting these great minds together. And you know what else it is? It's this thing fans do where, and I hear Jenny and Tori complain about this, not complain, but talk, that like fans want the people who were in the show playing best friends to be best friends and still be best friends. And we as a Weird Al kid, as a Dr. Demento kid, I want there to be a pool party where all of these crazy people are hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to have really happened. And so it's like, it's the most specific kind of fan service I could imagine. And that's why it was so perfect. We're just like, that's what I wanted it to be. Yay, I'm so glad it was.
Yes.
You know, I'm sorry he had to die at the end and whatever, but
I know. So ridiculous.
yeah. And before he wrote some of my favorite Weird Al songs, which is, you know, so I'm glad he didn't really die. Do you want to talk about some Adventures in Intimacy? I mean, there's more, or is there more we can, I think there's more we can talk about, but I don't know where you want to go.
I mean, I'm good with either. If there's more to discuss, let's discuss it, unless you want to save it for what else.
Let's see. Okay, let me ask you this. I'm going to give you 3 choices.
Okay.
What is the funniest outright lie in this movie? Where it's just like, that's ridiculous. Okay, here's your 3 options.
Thank you.
1, Madonna killed Pablo Escobar and took over the cartel. It's so far-fetched and stupid and serves no narrative purpose.
Yeah.
That whole section makes no sense, but it's fine. 2, that he wrote Another One Rides the Bus on a dare at a party in Dr. Demento's grotto. That's a bold set of lies. Lie number 3, that Weird Al was that cut. Because all 3 of those are equally improbable. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's the first one. Like, it's so ridiculous. I mean, the Madonna of it all, which, I'll be honest, when I first saw that trailer, I definitely looked at Walter and went, that's not real, right? And he's like, no, this is all going to be, he immediately understood the assignment in a way that I didn't. I was thinking, I had no idea what to expect. And I'm so nice a person that I'm never going to laugh at who you cast for yourself.
Right.
Like,
sure.
Everyone gets upgraded when they're, when they're cast in a bio.
Like, give Danny Rads that mustache and wig, and he looks like Weird Al. Like, I was surprised that he looked like Weird Al.
Like, it's hard?
Well, I'm surprised you look like Weird Al. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but holy shit, you look like Weird Al. It's weird.
Thank you. I also feel like my hair looks more like Russell Brand in Almost Famous, but still, overall, it's giving Weird Al, and I'm thankful.
No, it's giving Weird Al big
Thank
time.
you.
Yeah, I don't know which of those is the funniest to me, but they're all hilarious. Like the idea that I'm pretty sure that he only met Madonna once, like in his whole life.
Yeah.
And it's true that she had the idea for Like a Surgeon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she came up. The only time they ever met was like backstage at like I don't know, American Music Awards or some shit. And it was, he'd already done Beat It or Eat It to Beat It. And she's like, "Oh, so when are you going to do Like a Surgeon?" And he's like, "Now?" Like,
wow.
Yeah, literally her idea.
Look at this virgin.
Yes. There was some stuff in there. All the stuff around Eat It and Beat It, I thought was pretty brilliant.
Yes.
It's a really funny way to tell what at the heart of it is true. That at the time he was very worried about being linked with Michael Jackson forever. Like, I can't be the guy who just does Michael Jackson parodies and then he does Fat a few years later, because you had to, but like he didn't want to be so closely associated with one person. And that's what, it's what he says in here. He's like, if that Beat It song is going to make me link to him for life. And I'm like, of course it is. That's what happened. Like,
you mean that kid from the Jackson 5?
Right.
I love that.
Successful solo career at that point. And the rock and roll biopic trope of trying to like either prove your parents wrong or earn your parents' love by rebelling against them, and making that rebellion about what he knew in his soul was his life's work, writing his own words to other people's songs and playing the accordion.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb. It like, there's no chance that young Weird Al had that specific a dream.
No.
But they just make all of it so decision based and fated as well. Like, this is, nobody gets a agent off of one song that they recorded in a bathroom bus terminal.
No, but apparently he did get a 14 album deal.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, the details are way wrong, but what happened is basically what happened.
Yeah.
Like, until he gets murdered at the end and stuff.
After himself on stage.
And and the Pablo Escobar of it all. Yeah. But it is a deeply weird movie.
Yes, it is.
And which makes it kind of perfect. Even though, as we say, it's a little slow at times, and I don't really know what the Pablo Escobar stuff is about. But
I don't either. And I think back to an interview at the end of the Harry Potter movies, and Dan was saying, like, it's when am I ever going to get to do an action role again? People my height don't get cast in that, which I'm like, have you met Tom Cruise? But also, like, right. He has done he can do whatever he wants now. Like, so yeah, he's killing it. I'll see whatever, except for Merrily, because I was unlucky.
I'm sorry. I bet they filmed it. I bet you'll be able to watch it.
No, they totally did, and there is a way for us to go see it. It's just we have to make an appointment at the New York Public Library, the Performing Arts branch. Like, in the year of our Lord 2024, there are many amazing ways to see musicals on Broadway that you weren't able to see in person, but it is difficult.
I don't know. I put that like on near the top of your to-do list. That sounds really cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yes.
Well, see, there you go. Make your appointment.
Maybe I should write that down for an anniversary idea.
There you go.
Everyone.
I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast.
No, I don't think he does.
What?
Although he might just to hear me talk about Weird Al.
Yeah.
Make sure I do him justice.
When is the anniversary? Is it before this episode will come out?
It is the day after your birthday.
Oh, it's before this episode will come out.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah, you'll have already done it. Time machine.
Hey.
Yeah, love that. I was trying to think of like what the moral of this story is.
Oh God, why?
Because I don't.
It's be weird.
I mean, I think it's slightly more nuanced than that, but that's part of it. Because I don't think if you're Weird Al, you just do this movie as a like for a gag.
No.
Like you have to be telling a story, right? And I think what it is at the at the foundation level of this movie is I am an incredibly lucky person and that I was allowed to be myself all the time
Yeah.
and get paid for it. Who knows why that happened? I sure don't.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what this movie is him going, I don't know either, but isn't it cool?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a I don't want to say a rare case. I mean, they say all the time in acting classes and other art things like, be yourself, like because and I don't even have a good because it's just like that's what's going to lead you to finding the work that is best suited for you. That is going to be how you find the people who see you for who you are and know immediately that's what she needs to be in.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that hard to be yourself, especially if you feel pretty comfortable with who you are or self-aware, but there are things that we all do like masking and it just
Mhm.
happens accidentally sometimes. Um and so yeah, like sometimes it takes a lifetime to
Mhm.
be yourself. And that can get in the way. But then I think other people have made it on creating a character. I mean, you look
Mhm.
at who is it, Andy Kaufman?
Sure.
Like built a character from that. I think
Or
there are
Tony
many,
Clifton, yeah.
yeah, like so many comedians definitely like
Sure.
they build a type of comedy that fits their voice and for them, but maybe that means coming up with a character. Like that's something I've wondered for myself. Like, maybe there's a character to be built there because
Yeah.
it doesn't match who I look like.
Right. I don't know, but what I do know is that Weird Al gave kids who liked Weird Al like permission to be themselves.
Yeah.
And like that's part of why Weird Al was so popular in Dr. Demento and like that whole like to know that there was someone out there doing this kind of silly shit that like this is not for everybody. I know that, but it's for me.
Yeah.
Like this is 100% for me, and it's for other people too. And it is permission to be silly. You know, like his third album is called Dare to Be Stupid,
Yeah.
and that's like the title track is Dare to Be Stupid. It's full of lots of bad advice. But it's like it's just it's okay. Get out there, be the silly thing that you are, be that person. Because I did, and look at me, I'm playing the accordion on MTV for God's sake. You
Yeah.
know?
Like I think had I listened to Weird Al sooner, I would have unlocked some, you know, some gates
Yeah.
in my life on like I mean, it's like you said, we want permission to feel silly and to be ourselves and like, you know, I thought I had enough of that by continuing to pursue theater even though it was not considered a desirable career path.
Sure.
Um but yeah, so Weird Al would have been right up my alley and again, I don't know why I avoided it, but it's also like it wasn't like many things, especially in nerd culture, it was not presented to me as something I would enjoy. Like, and this
Right.
is why taking gender off of toys is important because you don't know how a kid's going to relate to something or how it's going to like change and impact their life.
Right. Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. Um, one of the ways Weird Al impacted my life is that I started a parody band when I was in grade school.
Oh
And
my god, that's adorable.
we wrote it was like in 5th or 6th grade, we wrote our own parody songs and performed them in music class. to the entire class sitting on the out there, and we were on stage doing our parody songs. Our parody songs like "Put Your Boogers on Me" to
Why?
"Pour Some Sugar on Me"
Oh,
by
I
Jim
knew.
Oh, we did it. We had a barbecue theme song called Griller. Uh-huh. I mean, we did it all. I mean, we were cutting edge.
This is
Um,
not that your ego needs it, but this is fucking adorable. And
mhm.
oh my god, to have a
I
time
still
machine and to see it
I
would be
still do
great.
it. Like I still write parody songs walking around the house. Like it just Weird Al is in my soul.
Again, more reasons why you and Walter need to hang out and such because like when I told him that, he got very excited. He was like, "Really?"
All the time. Yeah, I don't even try anymore.
Nor should you.
No, and I don't want to. Um, but I know that you want to talk about intimacy because this movie had something that maybe no other movie we've talked about has had.
Oh my god, friends. We have our first movie, pretty sure, with an intimacy coordinator.
Weird
Very
Al for the win.
exciting. Very exciting. I had a feeling it did. I can't tell you why. It's not like I can always automatically tell. You know, sometimes
Mhm.
you can tell, at least in newer stuff. Um, but it's not inherent. It seemed like the kind of thing, and these seemed like the kind of people who would say, "Oh, this is a thing? Cool, let's hire one."
Uh-huh.
Um, so that was very exciting to see. Um, because with this movie, we have a lot of comedic intimacy again. And
Hmm.
they I mean, we have a parody of intimacy, you know? Like
Yeah.
my favorite things. So the kissing while moving, like when Weird Al and Madonna get together
Uh-huh.
and they fall into an impassioned embrace and just like after having talked for 5 minutes. And they're
Right,
doing
right,
the
right.
thing that if you've seen The Notebook, that's a great example of what they're parodying here because in The Notebook, the two leads in that like are making out from room to room, hitting
Yeah.
walls,
Yeah,
being
yeah, yeah.
insecure. And this feels like it's making fun of that. It's many other movies, but like
Yeah.
it could have been shot for shot almost. And so yeah, they're rolling around against the walls and knocking over things. And obviously that requires some sort of choreography because if you have your field of vision blocked by another human being against you,
Right.
you kind of
Yep.
need to know one, how am I holding on to this person? And then two, how do I keep myself and them safe from
Yeah.
like shards of whatever?
Yeah.
Or just, yes, bruises can happen on a set, but if you can avoid it, that would be great. Like
Hmm.
again, the little I won't go into that. Anyway, it was just gonna be me knocking actors for being like, oh, I got hurt. Oh, it's fine. Anyway,
So shouts to Kelly Flynn, who
thank you.
was the yep. I wanted to make sure we said the name. Um
I
because
knew it, but I was afraid I had it wrong. So thank you, Kelly Flynn.
yep, yep. I looked I of course had IMDb open. Um
Fantastic.
so yep, so I checked it out. And that is what her name is. So go Kelly Flynn.
In other comical, intimate things, we've noticed there will be like your favorite thing to do on here, which is a lot of tongue. Like
Yeah.
it's, and I've said, and I think most people in the field know, although you wouldn't know it by how they practice sometimes,
Hmm.
but tongue is not usually kosher in this
Right.
in
Right.
anything. But
Or in a deli.
yeah, exactly.
I
Um,
guess a cow tongue probably is.
maybe. But
Yeah.
comedy they do that a lot because it's funny. It's funny how badly some people kiss. Bad kissing is is comedy, and a lot of bad kissing involves way too much tongue. But they didn't do that with this, and I thought that was interesting. Because they were still able to be gross and hilarious and ridiculous without the like licking all over each other. Also, they were probably shooting during the pandemic still, so I probably could have had some influence on it. Like, I don't really want to lick you. Yes, we're in a closed set, hopefully, and being safe and mouth washing and taking tests, but
it was a weird time.
Like, it was a time. Like, well, that would be a fun conversation one day. The ways in which we were getting back into intimacy on screen and on stage coming out of COVID. Not for right now, but things like mouthwash has definitely become more of a mainstay. You know, it should have always been a thing. A lot of things should have always been a thing, but they're not, and it's okay now because things are getting better. At least in terms of intimacy on set.
Yeah.
I really love how much Evan Rachel Wood was like playing as Madonna with, I mean, because she's playing Al. She's just trying to get the Yankovic bump in more ways than one. And I'm like, the sunglasses, she's playing with her sunglasses on his chest, and then like all over him later on at dinner, and I forget what other scene, but I mean, she's just all over him and having a good time. And like, oh, the gum moment, another moment that would have made sense if they had wanted to do tongue, but they didn't. And again, I'm just like, way to be creative. Just, is this your gum? Oh, you want to come get it?
Yeah, it's great.
So I thought this was great. Shout outs to my favorite intimate moment, which is just Daniel Radcliffe being born from an egg covered in goo, half naked.
Yeah. You know what that was? That was a Spinal Tap reference.
Okay. I did not know specifically what it was referencing, but I thought, this looks familiar.
There's a well, it's also like, it's a reference to the movie The Fly also, but there's this amazing scene in Spinal Tap where they're coming and they're playing their song in those cocoons. Open the whole time he's trying to get out, and he has to play the whole song in the cocoon. This was a reference to that. Okay, let's do it at what else time? Because I want to ask you a question that I already know the answer to. All right. Anything else with the intimacy?
No, it was pretty clear and concise. Like,
yeah,
I had to wait for a long time because I knew it was going to happen, and like I was, watching with my eyes peeled, and not just because it's Daniel Radcliffe, but like, people are going to hate me this episode, and I don't care.
This is Paul Newman level.
Like, let me be excited about things. Seasonal depression has set in, and
we don't judge. Love your Danny Rads.
And I do so much.
I'm aware.
Like, I don't know what I've been grosser about, Paul Newman or him. Anyway.
Neither. I think they're both. The Paul Newman one was such a delight to discover in real time. That kind of makes that my favorite, because I already knew the Danny Rad stuff.
But this was good. It's just fun to like, and again, I didn't know with 100% positivity that there was an icy on this,
but it felt like it. Yeah.
It just felt like it. And I mean, again, it speaks to the fact that the set, it feels like everyone had a fun time doing this. That all speaks volumes. So yeah, that's all.
Nice. Okay. Well, let's go into Dr. Demento's grotto. Just on the other side of the pool is Needle Drop Forest. All right. I told you I was going to ask you this question.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you the same leeway I gave myself. which is what's your favorite Weird Al song? But I couldn't just name one, so I made a top 5 that has 7 in it. I couldn't stop at 5. I couldn't stop at 5.
You do have a problem.
I do, but that's okay. So what is your favorite Weird Al song?
I think it's The Saga Begins.
Really? Okay.
I really like that one, and is it Ode to a Superhero?
Which one is that one?
Swing us away, you're the Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm not even sure I know that one. That's because that's so new. Like, that's one of his last 2 albums, and I just don't know all of those songs. The way I know I Lost on Jeopardy and Quit Dragging My Car Around and My Bologna. And, like, I know those early ones. This Is the Life. Like, I know all of these early ones. But the newer ones I don't know as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think those spoke to me the most and delighted me the most. I looked at Walter and was like, he said what I would. He was trying to think of the ones which annoyed me the
least. Does Walter have a clear-cut favorite Weird Al song?
I'm going to verify this before I answer.
Yoo-hoo, family!
Hey!
What?
I want to be certain before I tell the whole world what your favorite Weird Al is. Is it Albuquerque?
Oh, yeah. Well, album or song?
Oh my god. Song.
Yeah, probably Albuquerque. Favorite parody or original?
Doesn't matter. However you answer it is fine with me.
Albuquerque would be the favorite original. Favorite parody would be Jerry Springer.
Okay.
So
very nice.
Again, a fan. Super
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Way back.
That's it.
Big boy living in a box.
No, you are not doing that right now.
I'm blocked on the street from Jerry's bait shop. You know the place.
I will divorce you. Albuquerque.
It's the best.
Not the city. The city's fine.
That's awesome. Here's what's great about that. I don't really know either one of his favorite songs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to go listen to him because he is younger than me. So he, like, the things that hit him in the sweet spot age-wise are not the things that hit me. Although the ones that are kind of my favorite are not ones from when I was a kid. They're more ones that came out when I was, like, in my 20s. So it's because he has gotten so good at not just like those early parodies. Like Another One Rides the Bus is like it's just like, and then making like it was that kind of stuff. His stuff starting in like the I don't know, in the 90s was so produced and performed so that the instrumentation was even dead on.
Yeah.
And when he made that like evolutionary jump, some of my favorite stuff came from it. So here are my top 7, top 5. And I'm leaving stuff off. Like Dare to Be Stupid is not on here, and I love Dare to Be Stupid. And in no particular order, eBay, the I Want It That Way parody is kind of perfect. Like all the jokes, the meter, all of it, it's perfect. White and Nerdy is amazing and also note perfect. My favorite original is The Night Santa Went Crazy.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, it's a phenomenal holiday song where down in the workshop, all the elves are making toys for the good Gentile girls and the good Gentile boys. When the boss busted in and nearly scared him half to death, He had a twinkle in his eye and cheap whiskey on his breath. Yeah. From his beard to his boots, he was covered in ammo like a big, fat, drunk, disgruntled Yuletide Rambo. So he smiled as he said with this twinkle in his eye, "Merry Christmas to all. Now you're all gonna die."
Oh my god.
And he takes out the North Pole.
Jesus.
It's amazing. It's so great. I love Yoda to the Kinks' Lola, because that's probably my first one I loved, because it was like a Star Wars parody. And I'm like, oh, that song, he says Dagobah and it's soda and Yoda. And this is just like that other song that I didn't know was about a crossdresser. But it was, and I didn't know it. But I was 8 and it didn't matter, and it was great and so much fun. There's another early song that's an original called One More Minute, and it's about all of the horribly painful things he would rather experience than to spend one more minute with you.
Oh, yes.
I love that song. I'm a big fan of A Complicated Song.
Okay.
That the Avril Lavigne, why'd you have to make... Yeah. And his is like, how was I supposed to know that we were both related? Or how was I supposed to know that I would get decapitated? Like, it's just, I love it. It's very dumb. And then I really like the song This Is the Life, which is just about how great everything is.
Aww.
Yeah, and it's another original. It's an early one. So, I think those are my top 5 favorite Weird Al songs. As chosen today. But tomorrow, I could be in a different mood.
Sure.
It's hard to say. Could be Smells Like Nirvana. I don't know. All right. What else time? Is this anyone's defining role?
I don't know. That I hope that Dan Rad gets to do more work, because he's got something,
Yeah. That kid's going somewhere.
He's going places.
Yeah, I don't think this is anyone's defining role. But it's pretty great. What else do you have for what else?
Oh, just shout out to that Doors parody moment. I really
That's what I was going to ask you about. Good.
Mostly because we talked about the Doors, on here. And so then you're all a bunch of slaves. And then they start the music. I went, oh my God.
Yeah. You want to see it? I'll whip it out. Yeah. I hadn't seen the movie yet when you watched that and texted me, and I was like, oh, it makes me so happy when you get the joke because you saw the thing.
Yes.
Like, oh, like you can watch it and not have seen The Doors and still find the movie funny, but then when you know what the parody is of, and you're like, oh, like it's so much of what happened to me and to people younger than me watching The Simpsons, where you're like, you watch The Simpsons for like 6 years, and then you're like 15 and you watch The Godfather, and suddenly you get like 85 references that you didn't see before.
So for my sister and I, we love Wicked, and we grew up watching The Wizard of Oz, and there are a ton of side eye, wink wink, this is a joke, call back to this moment in Wicked. I mean, even in the stage musical, and so Ashley went to see it, and she saw it with 2 people who had never seen The Wizard of Oz. So she's having to explain all. I know. Dear listeners, I'm sorry, if you have shown your kid The Wizard of Oz,
I just didn't think it was possible not to have seen The Wizard of Oz.
Listen, I became aware of this a few years ago when I was working with children, and they were like, what is this movie? And I thought, it's a cinematic classic. Yeah, I don't understand. So, yeah, it's things are so much more enjoyable. You know, they make these jokes and these moments for the people who know it, but it's still going to be enjoyable. So, yeah, but I loved it so much more now.
Yeah, I was very happy. I was like, oh, good. We've broadened your pop culture horizons and your toolkit. You know, like the things you can reach back and go, I know Jim Morrison wearing leather pants, taking out his thing on a stage. I know about it.
Drinking whiskey.
Right. Oh my God, so much whiskey. I should have brought my whiskey bottle back out for this, like I did for the Doors episode.
I thought about it.
Yeah,
but I'm near the end of my Old Forester from home bottle, and I'm just not ready to.
I get it.
I can't use it as prop.
I get it. It's not there yet. Okay, what is this the EST of for you?
Oh, I think this is the funniest biopic.
Okay, it's definitely up there.
Yes.
I think it's the most self-aware biopic.
Ooh, definitely.
Yeah, because like so many of the biopics they try to tell an angle on the person. You know, like they have there's something they want to highlight about them, their level of genius or their hard upbringing or their, you know, I don't know, desire to overcome or whatever it is.
How depressed they were.
Yeah. This one is just like, it's crazy, isn't it? No. I don't get it either. But isn't it fun?
This guy.
This whole thing, everything's weird. All of it. And I'm the luckiest person on the planet. And I get it. You know, not like the best, but definitely like the most famous of a very specific subset of music. Like, yeah, the subject of this movie knows who he is. And it shows in every part of this movie. So
I want to write funny lyrics to songs that are already famous.
Yeah, exactly. So good. All right, so I think that once again we have proven my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling.
Even weird.
The Al Yankovic story. It's like the weirdest way to name that movie. Weird : the Al Yankovic story. Because it sticks a colon and the word "the" in the middle of his name.
He did it on purpose.
Yeah, it's hard to say it. But that was fun. All right, so join us here next week, or on Wednesday, Cheesemeisters, when we watch season 3, episode 18, Midlife. Now what? And we're gonna have to figure what kind of movie to watch next week. It could either be about infidelity, or it could be about a spa weekend, or Dottie. Could be about Dottie.
Wait, Dottie?
Midlife Now What? You watched that episode, right?
Oh,
with Jim.
Sorry,
Jim's
is
part of the storyline.
Wait, did we discuss like possibly the secretary?
Maybe. We'll have to look that one up. Maybe.
Would that be too insane for this? Because I thought about that. I was like, my God, this is.
I've never seen it, so I've heard. I mean, it could be. It could. I mean, we watched. Although I don't think we ever released it, but we did watch Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice.
Oh, that's true.
So
Insight.
We've gone to places before. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Whatever it is, it'll be awesome here in the Peach Pot After Dark. So until then, Cheesemeisters. Cheers.